There we are.
Hey.
It's down the road we go, the 17th day of January 2018. It's a Wednesday. I am Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm your host, Steve Harrow, news director to my immediate left, Kat in control. Good Wednesday to you, Stephen.
Yeah, and good morning to you too, Dan.
You're looking good. You're looking,
well,
you look like you're back to 100% now.
I got a clean bill of health, both physically and cognitively, so I'm doing okay, you know.
Steve scored 29 out of 30
There you are.
on the test. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah.
Steve, he did not know the capital of Vermont, so that's where he lost his 1 point.
It's Montpelier, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You can't say that on television. By the way, Montpelier is the only state capital that doesn't have a McDonald's. There's a little trivia thing for you. Yes. Good show for you today. Coming up in the second half of the show, Lynn Kelly and Ashley Sinner will be in. The Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center's annual Night at the Museum is this Saturday night. It's the big event of the weekend, Steve. For $50, you get to walk all over the museum. You get entertainment, you get coffee, you get beer, you get wine, you get gourmet food, silent auction, big wingding at the museum.
Do they provide the cots and the sleeping bags too?
You don't get to spend the night.
Oh, I thought it was the full night.
No. It's from 6 to 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
at 9:01, it's everybody get out of here.
Okay.
No, they wouldn't do that. If you can hang around until 9:03 if you want. We'll talk about that in the second half of the show. Right out of the box, we got to talk about Mr. Helinski, Tyler Helinski.
Oh,
this is a sad story.
It really is.
Cougars quarterback Tyler Helinski apparently took his own life yesterday at the age of 21. We'll talk about that a little bit more in sports. We just saw him 3 weeks ago when he started for the Cougars at the Holiday Bowl, and now this.
Yeah.
It was not a good way to start the day. And we lost John Spellman, of course, too.
Former governor.
Former governor. Got to spend quite a bit of time with Governor Spellman. He's just a really classy guy.
There's a real connection with your family, too.
Yeah. My folks were heavily involved in his campaigns, his unsuccessful campaign in '76 and his successful campaign in 1980. Had dinner with him at the governor's mansion. He was just a really nice guy. He just really was.
Well, when you look back on the governors of Washington State, a lot of them were really nice people.
Yeah, and the public servants.
Bruce Gardner, Dan Evans.
Sure, these are good guys.
Even Dixie Ray. You know?
Yeah, even Dixie Lee. I mean, her heart was in the right place. Her governorship didn't go over so well. In any event, and Steve's got a lot of local news to get to. It's a busy day. Sports, wow, what a day yesterday. Congratulations to the Eastmont Wildcats. They win the Big Nine Girls Bowling Championship. We got highlights from that. The Wenatchee Wild are back into second place in the Interior Division. They defeated Merritt last night. We'll talk about that, plus most scores. We have the obscure holiday of the day today, today in history, birthdays, and everyone is entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion, and a rainy weather forecast coming your way. We're going to get wet. Big system's going to come in. It's going to start in the Puget Sound area. It's going to spill over the mountains and into us. So we are expecting some significant rainfall, which means probably maybe some more rocks on 97A. It's a possibility.
Also means a little warmer temperatures, too.
Yeah, boy, temperatures are above normal, quite a bit above normal. About 5 or 6 degrees each day. The afternoon high is higher than it's supposed to be. We're usually right around 34, 35.
That's the kind of winter I like.
Yeah, it's perfect. To be honest with you, on the day after Christmas, I'm ready for spring. My golf muscles start to atrophy. Let's go around North Central Washington, the Wenatchee Valley with our Valley View cameras, and we say good morning, of course, to the Valley proper to begin things off. These cameras that you see, these high-definition cameras, spectacular views courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless internet. And that means, Steve, if you don't have fiber to your home, you can still get screaming fast internet. They just come and put a dish on your house. And boom.
I've got it.
You've got it, yeah, and you love it.
I love it.
Yeah, you absolutely love it. So there's the Wenatchee Valley proper, that jewel case view, as Steve likes to call it, from what we call the cross camera. It's right next to the cross at the very tip of Wenatchee Heights. And let's go to camera number 2.
And a river runs through it.
And the river runs through it. Camera 2, from now on, we find out on our own. That
looks like Chelan.
Yes, Lake Chelan. Yep. Beautiful day. I tell you, I had such a wonderful time up at Lake Chelan when we went up a week ago to talk to those people up there, the Chamber of Commerce and mayor. The mayor, he's doing a really good job, by the way.
Mike Cooney?
Yeah, speaking of public servants, Mike Cooney, he's doing a wonderful job up there as the mayor of Chelan. The guy's got vision. Good morning, Chelan. Thanks for joining us. Camera 3.
We can put a column up there today.
That's a dam.
Is that Rocky Reach?
I bet you that's Omi. Caitlin, what are we looking at? That's Omi Gardens. Yep, that's pointed upriver.
There's Rocky Reach Dam.
Rocky Reach Dam, which was, of course, named after Vice President Rocky Reach. A wonderful man, indeed. Another great public servant while we're on that subject. And finally, camera 4 is Cougar Ridge. Pull back a little bit. So the Otabashian Bridge, Steve, is to your right. Looks like a pretty light commute. Light drizzle coming down right now. It's going to come down heavier later on today. Forecast details are coming up, so not a bad day today. Again, typical January weather. The only thing that's different is, as you mentioned, the temperatures are warmer than normal.
Just moderate.
It's not dramatically warmer than normal,
No.
but it is warmer than normal. Seattle set 2 days in a row. Seattle set record high temperatures.
I don't know, the city may be preparing for some colder temperatures because I noticed that the de-icer chemical has been sprayed on the streets this morning.
They did that. We have a slight chance of snow. We're not really going to get any. And I asked about that one time, about why you're laying de-icer when there's no snow in the forecast. And the guys at Public Works said it has a limited shelf life. We just can't keep it in the tanks for years and years and years and store it. You use it or we have to get rid of it. So, which that's something I didn't know. So it's like a gallon of milk. You got to drink it or you got to pour it down the sink. So
last year they pretty much paid for the new system too.
Oh yeah. It's been working out really good. And I'm not going to lie to you, if the snowplow guys have nothing to do, I'm happy, because that means we don't have any snow. Let us do your weather forecast from the National Weather Service. Again, there's a pretty powerful frontal system coming in. It could bring a little bit of snow tonight. I'm not betting on it. Forecast high today of 38 degrees. Rain, it's light drizzle today. Starting about 4 o'clock, Steve, it's going to start raining. And it's going to rain from 4 o'clock till the early morning hours on Thursday. Pretty consistent rain today. Again, really coming in earnest mid to late afternoon, spilling over to tonight and into Thursday morning.
How far up is the freezing level right now?
It's up there a ways. In fact, Caitlin, if you want to go ahead and throw that slide up, let's go ahead and this is going to be your snow forecast for tonight into Thursday. So as you can see there, 0. We're not going to get any snow. Its snow level is going to be, I want to say, about 2,500 feet. And of course, here in the valley floor, we're about 700 feet right at the river. Pangbourne's about 1,400 feet.
Could get a little mantle of snow up in Waterville, though.
Yeah, and look at Winthrop. They're going to get 2, 3, maybe 4 inches of snow up there. That is Wednesday night into Thursday. For the valley proper, again, just rain. Later on today, spilling over to tonight. Thursday, we start drying out. Mostly cloudy and a high of 41 on Thursday. Friday, mostly cloudy, 40. We're going to be dry again. And then we have another system coming in Saturday night. But again, mostly rain with about a chance of snow. Saturday night, Steve, is probably not going to stick around. You can see Saturday. See that giant flake on Saturday night? That one big flake? That's what we're going to have. It's just going to be one big flake.
Other than the one sitting next to me.
Yeah, other than me. So yeah, snow Saturday night into Sunday, but it's going to all be gone by noon Sunday because we're looking at highs again near 40 degrees. So that is your forecast from the National Weather Service. To the passes we go. And as always, we start with the big one itself, the Snoqualmie Pass. Everybody's travels that one more than anything else. I-90 looking good. No advisories, no restrictions, nothing coming down out of the sky. The roadway is bare and dry. Stevens, no advisories, no restrictions, nothing coming down. Roadway is bare and wet, no issues on Stevens Pass. Blewett Pass's camera is up and running again. It wasn't yesterday. Roadway is bare and wet on Blewett with some frost and ice in places, no advisories, no restrictions, so you are clear to go across the board on the big 3. However, Steve, tonight, look at this. There's your snow for tonight for the mountain passes. This is tonight into Thursday. So starting, as we mentioned before, rain about 4 or 5 o'clock in the valley floor, snow about 2 o'clock in the mountain passes, and it's going to snow pretty consistently on all the major mountain passes beginning later on this afternoon, about mid-afternoon, all the way into Thursday morning. So total snow accumulations you can see there on your screen, upwards of maybe a foot of snow in the mountain passes, which is quite a bit. Again, starting Wednesday, 2-ish or so today, until about 10 o'clock or so on Thursday morning.
By the way, if you want to stay on top of the past conditions, you can always refer to our website where we have constant updated information from the DOT right there at ncwlife.com.
It is 9 minutes after the hour. Got a lot of news to get to. Steve and the crew were busy yesterday. If you got a minute to kill, go grab a cup of coffee and sit back down, and Steve will fill your head full of information. The news is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We are live here from Studio 15 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
It's happening now at Wenatchee Valley Mall. PetSmart has come to town and they're throwing a great event. 3 great events to be exact. Stop by January 20th starting at 9 a.m. and enter to win prizes, coupons, and free services. Join Pet Perks and be entered to win a $250 PetSmart prize package. PetSmart has just what you need with hundreds of exclusive products for your specific pet needs. And leashed pets are always welcome at PetSmart, so stay tuned for all the PetSmart grand opening events.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
And good morning. Welcome to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this Wednesday morning.
It's
as a matter of
Wednesday,
fact.
Steve.
Here's what's happening around north central Washington. First of all, a tragic story out of Grant County where a Moses Lake area man is dead after fire swept through his mobile home. This happened Monday night. Moses Lake Fire Marshal Derek Beach said the fire was located in a mobile home park off Marina Drive.
On their arrival, they were able to get the fire extinguished. There was, unfortunately, somebody was left in the mobile home that did pass away from the event. And like I said, we're at this point, we're still in the investigation stage of the fire, so that's kind of what we have at this point.
So again, no cause been determined yet on that blaze, but the coroner's office has subsequently released the identification of the victim in that fire. He was 56-year-old Joseph Mack. Also, a state Senate committee heard testimony yesterday on a proposed carbon tax. Governor Jay Inslee has made that one of his main priorities, and he commented on it during a public hearing yesterday in Olympia before the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee.
That has some really innovative provisions. It is the product of joint decision-making. And I want to thank all the people who have helped us fashion this to listen to their creative ideas about how to come up with a customized project to save our home in our home state. Now, the good news about this, and the chairman alluded to this, fortunately, we are not alone in this project. We have every other nation in their own ways with us. And it's comforting to know we are not alone. This is not something we have to stand alone on. This is something we need to stand together on. And I am comforted to also know that the things we are proposing have been successfully implemented in many, many, many countries and states which have successfully reduced their carbon pollution while growing their economy. This is great to be able to have a roadmap for success, which we have. This is not a one-off. We're following places that have done exactly this and had burgeoning economies and been able to save their homes as we seek to save ours.
Now again, Tuesday's public hearing included testimony from a variety of groups and individuals, both for and against. At one point during the meeting, committee member 12th District State Representative Brad Hawkins took issue with comments suggesting the state is already a world leader in clean energy.
For everybody, when we talk about Washington State wanting to be a leader in clean energy, sometimes that hurts me on the inside a little bit, just so you know. And I think I know what you're saying. But I believe we are a leader in clean energy, and our hydropower has a lot to do with that. And so just kind of please keep that in mind as you advocate for this policy. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't have a thoughtful conversation about carbon policy in our state, but I just want us to recognize the value of hydropower in our state. Thank you.
Now, gasoline prices under this bill could increase 6 to 9%. If it passes, and it would raise $3.3 billion in revenue over 4 years. Meanwhile, State Senator Doug Erickson said a carbon tax would raise fuel prices by about 20 cents in the first day. And the Puget Sound alone, about $40 million is expected to meet that region's infrastructure needs over the next few years. Also in Olympia yesterday, a bill has been introduced in the State House of Representatives that would treat rural and urban water use equally under the Supreme Court's Hearst decision. 12th District House Representative Kerry Condata and Mike Steele contend the measure evens the playing field for all water users.
Representative Joel Kretz from up north of us in the 7th District has introduced the One Washington Water Bill, which puts some severe restrictions on cities over 100,000 people on letting them monitor their water use and requiring them to be only using 350 gallons a day like they want to do to us, and also to require environmental impact statements for any new building permit in those cities. Because right now, if you go out to Issaquah, the east side of Seattle, they are literally building apartments and homes as far as the eye can see and hooking these up to water with no real examination of the water availability. On the other hand, they don't want us to drill a few wells, which ironically use a lot less overall water than a water system does because it goes back into the ground. And it's really ironic that what we're seeing here, and it is an urban-rural situation. So we're going to continue to fight the good fight on this. We do not intend to give up our water rights.
Comments coming on yesterday's 12th District program on NCW Life Channel. Now, the Hearst decision changes how counties decide to approve or deny building permits that use wells for a water source. That issue is front and center during this legislative session. Also, Washington's 18th governor and the first King County executive, John Spellman, has died at the age of 91. Seattle Times reported Spellman died Monday night and that a statement would be forthcoming from the family. Spellman was elected governor in 1980, served a single term, remains the last Republican to hold the state's top office. His actions as governor included blocking attempts to put an oil pipeline under Puget Sound. Spellman served as King County executive from 1969 to 1981. He helped put Seattle on the big-time sports map with the creation of the Kingdome. One final note here this morning, spaghetti and marshmallows were on the menu at Wenatchee School District yesterday. But we're not talking about lunch. Kindergarten teachers used the food items in a training exercise designed to help them teach engineering skills to their pupils. Session was led by science coordinator Jill Finnis. Here's that little video that she shared with us.
That's what you want?
Yeah, and go.
So the goal for this program is that all kindergarten students get access to an engineering design challenge. And the engineering design challenge this year is from engineering is elementary kit. And those kits have students building a bridge across a river. And the bridge has to hold a toy car to go across, as well as make a boat be able to go under it. So
cool. So what are these teachers doing right now?
So our teachers right now are building the tallest tower they can out of spaghetti. It's called the Marshmallow Challenge. The spaghetti has to be able to hold the marshmallow on top. And so they are learning about engineering. And after they're done, we're going to say what are the verbs that you used to do this. So they're going to learn about teamwork, about communication, collaboration, and then their students are going to get to experience that same thing. So,
perfect. Yeah. Thank you. We'll take a look at some of these engineering feats.
The problem is engineering
and then maybe like right there and then through the middles. The tape is what's making it stronger.
Okay, so the winner is the team from Washington, the highest. And team, tell us about your process.
Well, we had to revise halfway through.
Yeah.
This isn't working, so we redesigned.
So we made a base. We were going to make a square base, and then someone said triangle's a little stronger. So we made a triangle base, and then we started with just one piece, and we kind of gathered from someone else's, and we saw they were doing multiple. So we put 3 talls together, and then we made another base, and we were going to put it on the outside first, but then it worked better to put it on the inside. We did a lot of redesign.
Engineering 101.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't that pretty neat?
That's pretty cool.
I thought that was kind of neat. Yeah.
They did that.
Spaghetti and marshmallows, building bridges.
They did that at another school district, and they made a small mistake. They actually cooked the spaghetti, and then they tried to do it.
Didn't quite work that way.
Just didn't quite work at all. Normally, Steve and I do a little chit chat, but you got a boogie. You're off. You got a news story to cover.
We have a special meeting of the Chelan County Port District this morning, a breakfast meeting at the CTC. Confluence Technology Center, on economic development. So we're going to find out, what the course of direction for the port will be with its partners this morning at this meeting at Old Station.
And we'll have more on that on the news.
Absolutely.
Grant Olson is back. He was on assignment for the last couple of days, so at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and again at 10 o'clock tonight, Grant Olson will have your news. And there's different ways for you to get a hold of us. If you got some news tips, and boy, do we get news tips.
Boy, oh boy.
You can call us directly at the number you see on your screen. You can go to our Facebook Messenger little thing and do that. You can go to our website and hit the Contact Us tab. You can stand on the roof with a bullhorn and yell in the general direction of South Chelan. We'll get it.
Thanks for the tips, by the way, folks.
Yeah, we do. We appreciate it.
We do follow up on all of them, so thank you very much.
We love to hear from our viewers. We really do. It's 20 minutes after the hour, 34 degrees, light drizzle in downtown Wenatchee. Rain later on today and a high of about 40. In 1 minute, sports. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live from Studio 4 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life Channel.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life Channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on Local Tel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life Channel.
My name is Robert Duff. Current and previous occupation is architect, engineer, and a lawyer. Grew up here in Washington, born in Moses Lake. When I first came to CVCH, was looking for a place to get some dental work done. And I was really impressed with the people at the counter. I mean, they were just on top of it. It only took her like 15 minutes to do the job. I didn't feel anything. The technology is so great, you don't even realize you're at the dentist. These people are so professional. I would have any one of these people in my home for dinner. These people are family.
And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It is 22 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday morning edition of this program. Sad news to begin our sports report if you didn't hear already. Washington State quarterback Tyler Helinski, 21 years old, was found dead yesterday afternoon at his apartment in Pullman. He died from what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He didn't show up for a workout on Tuesday morning. The Pullman police went to his apartment on a welfare check. They found his body there. There was a suicide note alongside the body. The contents of that note has not and will not be disclosed. The president of Washington State University says this, and I quote, "Our thoughts and prayers are with the Helinski family." Helinski, of course, started the Holiday Bowl just a few weeks ago against Michigan State. He was widely expected to be the starting quarterback for the 2018 campaign. He was 21 years old. All right, on to better things. The Eastmont and Wenatchee girls bowling team had a date with destiny yesterday. At Eastmont Lanes, the two have gone through the entire season, first place, second place in the Big Nine standings. The Wildcats were looking to repeat as conference champions. The Panthers, meanwhile, wanted a share of that crown if they could just hand Eastmont their first loss of the season. Our cameras were there, as was Eric Grandstrom and Paul Paiva. They have the call on the NCW Life Channel.
Taylor Bitterman with her first ball, the second frame. Look at that, 3 in a row for Wenatchee. Looking good.
Oh, 190.
So a 190 for Becca Maines, and Eastmont will take this first one 846 to 793. So Alicia will finish with a 167 here for Eastmont.
There we go.
And a strike for Jessica Holbrook.
That's 20 in the pocket right there, just alone on that shot. So lead just cut in half on just one throw by Wenatchee. Yeah, and this is going to do it right here. She's looking at
no matter what she gets here. 1
pin, 2 pins.
Yeah.
And she's got it.
And she
so there's
got a
another
strike.
win.
Emily Montoya, Becca Maines with an 8. Trying to finish it up here with a spare for Eastmont. Good soft release.
Chopped it.
Oh, chopped it and left it open. Becca Maines will finish with a 173. So our pin count total 800 for Eastmont here in game 2 to 766. Becca Maines, meanwhile, will step up here in the 10th.
Becca only needs the first one, and they've got to win. There it is. That's the win.
Eastmont will win the regular season championship for the Big Nine, improving to 14-0 on the season, 12-0 in Big Nine play.
We could have done a little bit better. Yesterday practice was fantastic. It was like I knew they were ready to peak. We weren't quite our normal selves today, but I think they brought it home. I said, you know, do this for yourselves. Don't do it for anybody else, but have a good game so you can be proud of yourselves.
It's pretty insane, actually, but I don't know, it's great. We pulled another win out, and I think this is the first time that we've been undefeated as a team, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's definitely another mark in history for us, and we're only 5 years old, so.
So by winning the Big 9 title, the Eastmont Wildcats will be hosting the district tournament at Eastmont Lanes. It'll be held on January 23rd. By the way, the entire match from yesterday, and it was very exciting bowling with a big crowd. You can watch the whole thing Saturday night at 7 right here on the NCW Live channel. And then we packed up all of our gears and we headed over to the Eastmont High School Gymnasium for high school wrestling. It was senior night for the Wildcats. Moses Lake in town for a Big 9 wrestling conference match out. Eastmont got out to a really good start. They won their first 3 matches and then a forfeit, so they were ahead 19-0, and then the Chiefs landslide started. Moses Lake took the next 9 matches, 4 by pin, 2 by technical foul. They grabbed a 47-19 advantage heading into the final match of the night. And Eric Grandstrom has the call right here on the NCW Live channel.
As Arellano has both the legs, doesn't have them very well though. And now Reagan locked his hands for a minute, reaching around. Couldn't get the whizzer in, and we're real close to a 2-point takedown. It is 2-point takedown for Luis Arellano with 33 seconds left. So if he can hang on here, leads at 9-2. Going to give Eastmont a win here in our first match of the night. Bring him back to the mat. Vivanco trying to avoid the trip, and then Voss took himself right down to his back. Going to get a 2-point takedown and maybe some near fall points here for Damian Vivanco, as he's got that opposite arm all the way around the waist with that long reach. And now looking for a pin here in the second round. He got it. Cesar Cidio with a pin. Brought all the classifications together. And here's a tip opportunity and a pin opportunity for Jimenez for Eastmont. I don't see much room there as he has the cradle. He's got the 2-point lead already with a takedown. And looking for the pin here, possibly, and it is. Eric Strode had to look up and peek in between, and it is a pin for German Jimenez. And so the Eastmont night will end on a positive note with a pin by Jimenez.
For Moses Lake, they improved to 5-0 in conference play this year. Eastmont drops to 1-4 in Big 9 matches. Also in wrestling last night, Caribou Trail League, here are your finals. Chelan topping Okanagan 69-18. Omak 78-6. It was a double duel on the Goats mat. No results, by the way, posted for Cascade, and it's head-to-head with the Pioneers and the Bulldogs. We don't know. Les Schwab Prep Scoreboard in basketball. Last night, Okanagan bounced back from its loss to Kashmir with an 80-59 win over Cascade. Aniat edged Cascade Christian 51-42. In girls play, Okanagan doubled up on Cascade 50-25. And you see the Aniat Cascade Christian score in girls basketball. That's not a typo. 69-4. On the calendar tonight, we have more wrestling on the docket. Our cameras will be at the Wenatchee High School Gymnasium as the Panthers host the Eisenhower Cadets. It'll be live right here on the NCW Live channel beginning at 7 o'clock. Well, the Wenatchee Wild were in Merritt last night, looking to win their second straight game in BCHL hockey play. The back-and-forth contest saw Wenatchee jump out to the lead. Quick goal by Cooper Zeck, but then the Centennials quickly countered. Sam Hessler put the Wild up at the first break with his 5th goal and made it 2-1 Wenatchee. Zeck got a second goal of the night with just a minute and 25 into the second period, and that extended Wenatchee's lead to 3-1. The Centennials came back to tie the game, and we were tied in the final 2 minutes. And so with 2 minutes to go in the third period, we pick up the action. Here's our checker on the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.
Now spins forehand, throws it around to Stratton deep in the right corner. He cycles it back down, spun around, shot, score! Jasper Weatherby spun around and fired it home. With a minute 57 left to go, and the Wild lead it 4-3. 30th goal of the year for Jasper Weatherby.
Yeah, Jasper Weatherby's a heck of a hockey player, and the Wild won. That was the final 4-3. They held on for the victory, and that means they move back into second place in the Interior Division in the BCHL. It's back home. They got Victoria Friday and Nanaimo Saturday at the Town Toyota Center. And that is sports at exactly 30 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. It's time for the Obscura holiday of the day today. On New Year's Day, we make our New Year's resolutions. On January 17th, if we haven't already dumped them, we dump them. Today is Ditch Your New Year's Resolution Day. If you haven't broken or given up on all those resolutions, whether you made one or a bunch, well, you're doing better than most of us. I mean, if you're still holding on to your New Year's resolutions, and I know people and coworkers who made New Year's resolutions, and so far so good, they're sticking to it. But if you're sick and tired of whatever it is you're trying to do, be it lose weight or get healthier, all the ones that you see on your screen there, and you're just looking for a decent excuse to just get rid of them, today's the day to do it. January 17th is Ditch Your New Year's Resolutions Day. For me, it was easy. I didn't bother making any. Wow, look at the cross. Wow, look at that. Caitlin, bring that up full screen. Wow, look at that. That's the cross camera. Steve and I talked about this, about elevation. The Columbia River proper, a little over 700 feet above sea level, but you go up to Wenatchee Heights where that camera is, and you're adding an additional, a good 1,000 feet anyway, and I'm seeing some sideways snow from the cross camera, and we're still about 10 minutes away from sunrise officially. I can just look at that and go, come on, spring. But we got other stuff to do. We got today in history to get to, for that matter, on January 17th. On January 17th, 1950, 68 years ago today, the biggest robbery at the time in United States history, the Great Brinks Robbery. 11 thieves stole $2.77 million from the Brinks Armored Car Company's offices in downtown Boston. That's the equivalent of over $28 million. In today's money, it was, at the time, the biggest robbery in United States history. It took the 11 thieves 2 years to plan the heist, and 5 days before the statute of limitations was due to expire, and they could have done whatever they wanted to. They couldn't be arrested or charged. One of the 11, well, they tried to kill him. They wanted more money, and they decided, let's get rid of that guy so we can split more money, and they didn't succeed, and so that one guy decided to start talking, and 5 days before the statute of limitations would have run out and they would have gotten away with it, he started talking, they started making arrests, and they all ended up going to jail. By the way, of the $2.7 million that was stolen, only $58,000 was ever recovered. So you can say, in a way, they got away with it in one way or the other. 57 years ago today, just a couple of days before Dwight David Eisenhower left the presidency, he addressed the nation in his farewell address, and we now know about the military-industrial complex. He was warning the nation that this could get real big. These guys, the military getting together with the manufacturers of military weapons, could kind of get out of control. It could snowball. We weren't paying attention. Maybe we should have. Dwight Eisenhower's famous farewell address to the nation on this date of 1961. Today is the 47th anniversary of the worst Super Bowl ever played, Super Bowl V. Baltimore won, so they're pretty happy with it. Baltimore won on that last-second field goal. The final was Baltimore 16, Dallas 13. It was in Miami. It became known as the Stupor Bowl, not the Super Bowl. Poor play, missed PATs, missed field goals, bad officiating, penalties, 11 turnovers. It was ugly. It was ugly. They set a Super Bowl record of combined turnovers. Both teams, the Cowboys and the Colts, combined for 11 turnovers. And it still is the only Super Bowl where the MVP, Chuck Howley of the Dallas Cowboys, came from the losing team. In fact, Bubba Smith, who played for the winning team, the Baltimore Colts, refused to wear his championship ring because he said, we won, but we played like garbage. The worst Super Bowl of all time happened on this date of 1971. And today is the 27th anniversary of the Gulf War. Operation Desert Storm began in earnest on this date. It was a Friday, January 17th, 1991. Operation Desert Storm began when American fighter jets began to bomb Kuwait. 27 years ago today. January 17th, 1991. I remember it well. Okay, and now we do birthdays at 34 minutes after the hour. 1, 2, 3 birthdays. All of them are deceased, and none of these 3 people have anything to do with the other. We're talking about 3 people who are all over the map. We begin with Benjamin Franklin, the only president of the United States who was never president of the United States. He has the nickname, very well deserved, as the first American. And of all the founding fathers, he's my favorite. Benjamin Franklin. He is one of only 6 men who signed both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States of America. Benjamin Franklin was born on this date in 1706, lived to the ripe old age of 84, died in 1790, the great Benjamin Franklin. Think about this, all of the founding fathers, almost all of them, Jefferson and Adams and Benjamin Franklin, almost all lived to ripe old age, which in the 18th century was extremely rare to live into your 70s and 80s. George Washington didn't make it to his 70s, and of course Alexander Hamilton had the misfortune of getting shot. But almost all the founding fathers, Madison, Monroe, Franklin, they all lived to be grand old men, and that's kind of a cool thing. The great Benjamin Franklin, born in this state. Al Capone, probably the most famous criminal in American history, maybe John Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde, that kind of deal. But Al Capone was a big-time celebrity in Chicago in the 1920s. He was well-liked as a mob boss, and then he made a big mistake, and that was the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And after that, public opinion turned against Al Capone. Eventually, the government got him on tax evasion charges, ended up in prison. Probably the most famous gangster in American history, Al Capone, died in 1947 at the age of 48. And Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. Alongside Babe Ruth, Jackie Robinson, probably the most significant athlete of the 20th century, really. Muhammad Ali, of course, died a couple of years ago at the age of 74, my favorite. Not a lot to say about Muhammad Ali. Wish he was still around. He was born in the state in 1942. And that wraps up our second segment of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley here on this Wednesday morning. We got some sideways snow, it looks like, but we are expecting rain today. Light drizzle, apparently mixed with some snow, depending on the elevation. It's going to be just plain rain by mid-afternoon, and then rain from about 4 o'clock this afternoon all the way into Thursday morning with significant snow in the mountain passes. We're not expecting any kind of snow accumulation. Going to take a break, going to find out what's on Mike McNally's mind, and then we'll come back with Ashley Sinner and Lynn Kelly for the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. They're right around the corner. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley Wednesday edition on the NCW Life Channel.
I'm Dr. Ron Singleton. See how Ideal Protein can help you.
I started Ideal Protein about 10 months ago. I'm down 123 pounds and a little over 50 inches.
Using Ideal Protein, I've lost 37 pounds in just 10 weeks.
I lost over 52 pounds in 4.5 months on Ideal Protein.
This has been a wonderful journey. The food is great, and it's a very easy program to follow.
This medically designed program has repeatable, safe, and effective results. Call us today to schedule your weight loss consultation.
Alone, it can be hard to reach our dreams. It can feel like you aren't welcome anywhere. When no one's there to clap. Taking on the world by yourself. But when we come together, when we lend a helping hand, when we set the stage, when you support causes you care about in your community, lives are changed. You make a difference in someone's life when you give. Imagine the impact if everyone in our community gave 10%. 10% makes a difference.
SkillSource specializes in assessing and guiding youth, adults, and laid-off workers who want to improve their skills. Here you can attend in-depth workshops to assess skills and interests, make career plans, and learn computer basics.
Learning centers provide eligible youth and adults individualized computer-assisted basic education. Vocational training is arranged with approved providers like community colleges or on the job with businesses.
Don't wait any longer. Let's get working on the future you've been dreaming about.
Hi, I'm Cordell Schroeder, owner of East Wenatchee Mobile Storage.
If you're thinking about making a move anytime soon, check out the East Wenatchee Mini Storage brand new mobile storage service. They drop it off at your location, you pack it, and they pick it up and store it in their protected warehouse at East Wenatchee for as long as you need. When you're ready, they'll drop it off at your new home or office. East Wenatchee Mini Storage is excited to offer this brand new service to our region.
Call 509-884-8643 or find us on the web at ewministorage.com.
Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, serving all of North Central Washington. We make it our priority to learn all about your financial needs. Whether you're buying your first home, refinancing, or want a reverse mortgage, our mortgage professionals are ready to guide you through the loan process. We have a wide variety of loan products to fit your family's needs. Call Bay Equity Home Loans of Wenatchee today for your pre-approval. 509-888-0466.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, there's a lot of argument these days about capitalism and whether or not some people have too much money. Well, honestly, I have to agree. I think some people do have too much money, but also, honestly, who's to say who has too much and what too much is? You, me? Now, one truth is, to many people in third world countries, the average American, you and me, for example, we have too much money. We have more than enough food, little concerns about personal safety, and the lifestyle of most of us exceeds that of millionaires 100 years ago. So again, what's too much and who gets to say? Something to consider. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing. We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing honey blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Hi, this is Carl.
And Kathy from East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet. We are excited to be a part of this wonderful community and look forward to meeting you at East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet.
Our store is filled with name brand products at bargain prices at 40 to 60% savings. We have a large selection of natural, organic, and specialty foods.
Stop by and meet Carl, the wine guy, on Wednesday.
East Wenatchee Grocery Outlet, where you can win what you saved. Stop by soon.
So, how you guys doing?
My job starts in Portland in a month.
Can we find a buyer that fast? I think we're good. Our CBX app tells us who the best potential buyers are. We can pinpoint where the hottest prospects are located, right on this map.
2 cities over.
It even lets us set the most accurate price. Wow, it really does all that. It really does all that.
Well, help us pack?
We're working on that.
Hi, I'm Blair from Works, your workout prescription. Have you ever started an exercise program and then struggled to keep it going? So what if I told you that with this MyZone device, I could increase your chances of self-motivated exercise adherence by over 200%. Combine that with an exercise prescription specifically for your level of readiness, we'll increase it even more. And that's our new member success system. It's $99, it's exclusively at Works. It includes your MyZone belt. Works, yourworkoutrx.com.
43 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. The Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center is one of those crown jewels in the Wenatchee Valley. And if you've got nothing to do on Saturday night, where you should be is at the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center, because for $50 or $55, you're going to get 3 hours of incredible entertainment. It's going to be a great night. And visiting me from the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center, to my far left is Ashley Sinner, and directly next to me is our good friend Lynn Kelly, who's been on this show before. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Night at the museum.
Yeah, we're ready.
How many is this? You've done this before.
This is our second year of Night at the Museum. Before that, we had 14 years of Winter Wine Gala.
I remember that as well. So
yeah.
you change things up. Change is good.
It is. And you know, this has really allowed us to showcase a lot more of what goes on here locally in the valley, and puts us in a great position to showcase both wineries. We've got brewing, we've got cider, we've got hard spirits, and then lots of great food and entertainment.
How much logistical planning did this take? Because this can't be easy.
It takes a lot, but you know, it gets easier every year. It gets easier every year, and the truth is our whole team, everybody on staff does something for Night at the Museum. Right. It's a full team effort. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year.
Ashley, you're fairly new to the community. Let's get to know you just a little bit. Your position at the museum?
I'm the Outreach and Public Relations Coordinator.
Okay. What does that mean?
Good question. I do a lot of the marketing materials and things for the museum, and when there's, you know, fairs and booths and things, then I'm the person standing at the table.
Okay. Do you like it? You like
Yes,
the
I
gig?
do. I'm very new. This is, I think, my 4th month in. So yeah, but it has been exciting, and there's stuff happening all the time, and so yeah.
Do you have a museum background? You were with the Boy Scouts, right, in Spokane
Yes,
for a long
I
time.
was with the Boy Scouts, and so no, this is my first position with the museum, and I've been wanting to for a long time. So this was good timing for me.
Well, Boy Scouts in Spokane is great training because I was a Boy Scout, a very bad Boy Scout. But the Boy Scouts is a thriving organization in the Lilac City, isn't it?
Oh yes, it is, and it's been a few years since I've been there, but yeah. It was an exciting time, I think,
So the transition
start.
was no problems at all?
Yeah, no.
Good. So, and since you're new to town, and this is funny because I've told Lynn this before, whenever I meet somebody who's new to town, and they're gonna settle in and call this place home and raise their kids here, regardless of the profession, they go, "How do I get to know Wenatchee?" I say, "You go to the museum," is what you do, because if this is going to be your home, you got to learn about your hometown.
And that is one of the first things I did when I moved here.
So this might be a good time for newcomers to fork over $50 and go check out the museum at the same time.
That was one of the best things, I think, about the way that we redid things. So Night at the Museum takes advantage of the entire museum. We are entering through the annex entrance, which is not the typical entrance, it's the other building, so that'll all be lit to get you in that door. And then you start in the apple industry and then go upstairs into the Our People, Our Place exhibit, and then across the way over to Coyote's Corner, which we convert to a coffee house. It's really fun.
Cool.
We pipe and drape it all into black and convert it into a coffee house and put one of our entertainers there. And then you go downstairs to the main entrance. And so it really is, it was amazing last year to see how many people came up to me afterwards and said, "I've never seen that part of, of the museum before." Mm-hmm. And so it just takes advantage of everything we have there.
I've been to the museum a bunch of times. I don't think I've ever taken the Sky Bridge. You can do that. I guess you have to.
You go across the Sky Bridge, into the other building. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Can you fit it all in 3 hours? Because it's only from 6 to 9.
You can. Of
Okay.
course,
Okay.
of course.
And you can do anything you want at whatever pace you want, right? I mean, there is a
Exactly.
flow to it.
There's a flow, but each room has its own kind of theme. So we start the apple industry, which is where the old-fashioned apple sorter is, includes beer and cider. And then Sweetwood Barbecue is providing brisket sandwiches down there. Yeah, we'll have those. And then we'll have some of the Mike's Meat pepper sticks and some cheese from Pybus Cheese Market. And then
Gavin McLaughlin, who does country and classic rock and some modern pop music, will be in that room.
Very talented guy.
Yeah.
And I'm a jazz guy. You got jazz music?
Yeah.
Good.
Tom McNair and the Confluence
Tom and his
Trio
trombone,
are
good.
upstairs. And actually downstairs, Apple Industry has cider from Snowdrift and then beer from Wenatchee Valley Brewing. Upstairs, it'll be It's 5 Distillery and Tom and his jazz trio, and then food from India House and from Cafe Gerardo.
Yeah, that's good food.
Yeah,
That's
good food, really.
How did they decide who goes where and the flow of it, all of that stuff? How's that decision made? You all sit together and say, "This is what we did last year. We'll do this year."
So some of it, in terms of the drinks, kind of lead the way. And
Okay.
so, that's how we end up with beer and cider downstairs in the Apple Industry. And then jazz just seems to make sense. We really try to use the museum to its best advantage. We do, pipe and drape Coyote's Corner, but beyond that, we don't do a whole lot of decorating for the event. We really try to theme things to what's there, what's indigenous. We have such great resources to start with. There's no sense spending a lot of time trying to create some theme that's just not there.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, and it's all about, because it is a museum, so that's really the critical part of it.
Yeah.
Is that you're there to learn about Wenatchee's history and its past, and in many respects, its future.
Exactly. And so this year's, the main exhibit in the exhibit space right now is on the museum, on music in the area.
Yes, I heard about this, and I was going to ask you about that. You got some of Don Bernier's old records hanging around on there. Talk about that, Ashley. How did that happen? I'm a music nut. I got to go check it out.
Casey, our exhibit curator, probably has a better story on how it happened, but it's just the music history of Wenatchee, and we have a long history of music in the Valley, and so the exhibit just kind of is a timeline of all of that, and there's all sorts of neat things like the old Julian records are in the exhibits, and some other really amazing things that you might not know. People come in all the time and point to a picture from one of the bands and say, do you know who that is? And then it ends up being that person.
Yeah, exactly. That's
and
me.
So it's really, oh, I know who that person is in that picture from the 70s or
in
whatever.
the mid-'60s, really right through the 70s and into the 80s, Wenatchee had a thriving independent music scene because the Beatles broke through, and then everybody who could play a guitar and even couldn't play guitar started a band.
Exactly.
And we had record labels here in town,
So we actually have a record that we've, a CD that we've pressed that includes local music that's available at the museum right now. We added on to the main exhibit and put one upstairs of concert t-shirts from Wenatchee. So there's a huge concert t-shirt exhibit.
So where did you get all this material? That must have taken a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Casey Koski is our exhibits director, and she worked very closely with a young man here in town, Dustin, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name off the top of my head, but he helped. I know Dave Harold helped. I know she just kind of brought in people from all throughout the Valley to try to bring things together. And we had Jack Jones in October to help open the exhibit.
And we have a punk band coming on February 3rd for the First Friday event for another concert.
Because whenever I think of the museum, I think punk music.
Well, we've done our job.
We're trying to hit all the genres.
Now, how long is this exhibit going to be up? Because I got to go see it. I haven't been there.
It's in just
middle
one
of
more
February.
month. Yeah, one more month.
One more month. And then you're going to wrap it up February 3rd, a concert there with.
Yeah.
So.
It's open for a couple weeks after that, and then we move on to the high school art show, which is in its 40th year.
So there's a lot going on. How do you keep your head above the water?
It has been a whirlwind for sure.
And you've been kind of shadowing Lynn, because Lynn's is kind of, except for the big things, Lynn goes off to her other job, which is trying to convince physicians to move here. Probably your job can't. No. So you pretty much got a grasp of your day-to-day duties?
Oh yes, and it is different every day, I think, and just doing a little bit at a time.
You know what my favorite thing about the museum is, and it's very close to our studios, it's half a block away. When I go run around errands in the middle of my workday, and I drive by the museum on Mission, and I see the signs that say buses parking only, and I love that, because that means
kids are there. Yeah, field trips. I was going to say, we've been talking about the exhibits piece, but the truth of the matter is the education piece at the museum is huge. The education department does fantastic work, and there are a regular number of, thousands of students who go through the museum every single year.
Yeah, and my guess is when the kids are there, it's a little louder than a museum normally is. So.
It's wonderful. It truly is.
Let's get back to the topic at hand. It's Night at the Museum. It is Saturday. It's from 6 to 9. And again, you won't be entering in at the normal main entrance of the museum. By the way, every time I go in there, I always go over to the post office boxes and I go, my key doesn't work. I got to get my mail. Real quickly, walk us through from beginning to end one more time.
So you want to park down at Kittitassin Mission, where the city lot is down there. Walk down in, come in the entrance there. You'll, buy your ticket in advance if you can. Go ahead. It's on our website right now, WenatcheeValleyMuseum.org. Get your tickets right away, and then you'll be on the list, and we'll check you off, and we'll give you your glass, and you get 12 sample tickets, and 1 token for a full pour. And you'll start in the apple industry, and you'll listen to fun and funky music there, and have your beer and your cider there, and then head up to the Our People, Our Place exhibit and listen to Tom McNair and his group and the jazz, and then head across the Sky Bridge over into the coffee house. We have Mila serving coffee there, and Whipped has cupcakes that they'll have served there.
You didn't say cupcakes.
And Charlie Solberg is the acoustic guitarist.
He'll be there.
He's good.
And then you head downstairs, and it's wine. We have 9 wineries: Fielding Hills, Haran, Crayell, Cave B, Jones, Malaga Springs, Baroness, Leone Cellars. And one more. I knew I was going to forget one more. And then we have...
Our record fell over.
Oh
there
no,
we go.
Donnie.
Yes, Donnie Osmonds. Yeah.
And then we've got food from Enos Cafe and Visconti's and Top Color Garlini's Catering, and I know, and Cafe Columbia. So,
And the Gin and Oaks Trio will be on the main stage. They were in the Speakeasy upstairs last year with their jazz there, and they are coming back on the main stage this year.
And then you'll pass our auction.
Yeah, the silent auction. Talk about that real quick.
We have a lot of experiences, actually, that we, in our silent auction.
So you're not really buying an inanimate object.
Well, you can.
Okay.
There's some of those, but the big things
Talk
are
about
like a sailing trip on Lake Chelan. There's a snowshoe extravaganza to with a bonfire afterwards with food and drinks, and a dinner in an orchard in the summertime, and yeah, just really some exciting kind of unique life
experiences as opposed
yeah.
to something that you buy and put on your mantle.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
there'll be other opportunities to, you know, send a kid to summer camp or some sort of thing related to the museum to sponsor something at the museum, but yeah.
And you might even be able to win to spend a half a day with my brother.
Yes.
First of all, did he agree to this? Did you talk to him, Lynn? Or?
No, I did not. The board talked to him.
Okay.
Our board, yes. So half a day with the mayor.
Okay.
It's one of the great experiences that you'll be able to do too. So
well, you got to spend 20 minutes with me, and
we'll talk. Let's auction off that.
Yeah. The winning bid is 39 cents. One more question before I cut you loose, and this kind of popped into my head when you mentioned wine, and well, actually, kind of ties into the music theme. We're talking about that as well. When something is going on in the Wenatchee Valley that you think, okay, this is going to have historical significance down the road, so let's start accumulating things now. So 50 years from now, we can do an exhibition of, say, the music scene. So you won't have to call up a million people and ask them to go through attics and boxes. Do you do that now with the wine industry, now that wine has become so cool? Or how do you make those decisions?
So
Does that question make sense?
Yeah, yeah. No, we have a curator. Our curator is Melanie Wachholder, and she has a committee that she works with, and the collections committee looks at items that people want to donate things all the time. They come in the front door and say, "This is important." And so the collections committee examines those things and decides what to take in and what to keep. So we really want to preserve local history.
And that's really the key.
Local, local. You know, we don't need a laptop. Everybody had a laptop, and yeah, those will be important to look at. And yes, we did have a Mac in our last exhibit, but we really want to keep things that are local. So, for instance, last year when Sam and Vicki Mills retired, they contacted us and said, "Would you come down?" And so Melanie and I went down, and Melanie, looked at things and said, "We would be honored to keep these things," and they were very generous and gave us quite a few lovely items. So it's really a matter of making sure that we preserve what makes Wenatchee Valley unique.
And I suppose there is some kind of budget to purchase items. I mean, I don't know how many.
I don't believe we can purchase. I think for the most part we have to take donation.
Okay.
I know we can't sell items, but
I understand
and
completely.
the accessioning and deaccessioning process are very specific, and you should have Melanie on sometimes.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Because she'd be great to talk about that, and she has a great committee that she works with, but she's really the expert.
Mm-hmm. It must be fascinating to sit around at those meetings and go, this is going on right now in the Wenatchee Valley, or has been for a couple of years, and people are really going to be interested about this in 100 years from now.
Exactly.
So let's start collecting it now. It must be a fascinating process.
And knowing that our collections have very specific storage requirements, and we have very, very strict protocols on what gets accepted and how it gets taken care of.
I bet you your basement looks a lot like the final scene in Citizen Kane.
No comment.
A night at the museum is not a night at the museum. It's 3 hours, but you're going to have 3 hours worth of fun. It's $50 if you're a member. It's $55 if you're not a member.
Correct.
just join the museum, because you get reciprocal stuff. You can visit other museums at a really good rate. And I would like to wrap up this. I'd like to donate this to the museum. It's my copy of Donny Osmond's Sweet and Innocent. There you go. That's for you. That's for you.
Thank
and if
you.
you want me to autograph that, I will. All right.
Well, very good.
Everybody have a great Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow. My guests from the United Way of Chelan and Douglas counties. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.